Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Hingulambikaya Namaha. Om Kamakyaya Namaha. Om Kalakalaya Vidmahe Kalatitaya Dhimahi Tannah Kalabhairava Prachodayat. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amritarupini Tanushakti Manashive Shri Hingulaya Namaha. Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another video of our Aṣṭa Guru Bhairava. Today there is a very interesting topic when it comes to the Nath Sampradāya. Yes, it is a continuity of the last episode what we spoke about Adinatha. It is about actually after who was the first Guru who has been entitled as a Guru from Shiva himself, Adinatha himself. So today we are going to talk about the first Guru of the Nath Sampradāya, Matsyendranāth. He is being considered as a Maha Avatar. Same like Maha Avatar Babaji. Similar to that, Matsyendranāth has been considered as a Maha Avatar. There is a very beautiful connection when it comes to the Nath Sampradāya. There are very few Guru actually till dated we normally get connected to them. Coming from the Nath Sampradāya, we always get connected to the roots of the Nath Sampradāya, and the first primordial connection when it comes to the Natha, it is none other than Matsyendranāth. See, there is a cosmic background behind this. There are a couple of stories which talks about Matsyendranāth Avatar, how exactly he came into existence, why exactly he came in, and how exactly Bhairava was able to bestow him about the jnana which was not been disclosed to the external world. Whatever we call it as a Vijnana Bhairava Tantra was the first being explained or understood by the first person is Matsyendranāth. I'm not trying to create any kind of a curiosity when it comes to sharing this information. Reason is very simple. As we are not trying to, this is not a YouTube series. Okay, this is about the jnana, what we are trying to understand about our Aṣṭa Guru Bhairava in the utmost love and surrender, such that we know we can understand our Aṣṭa in a much more subtle way, where actually we could not understand him from the scriptures or the information which is available in the today's social media. What is that cosmic background which talks about Matsyendranāth is? It has been said that the same connecting story, like long ago when the Shiva, Paramashiva, in the Bhairava Swarupa as Ādi Guru Bhairava, he revealed some secrets about the Yoga Tantra, the secret teachings, Vijnana Bhairava Tantra perspective, to the Devi Parvati. And this happened in one of the episode where actually these teachings were not being meant for the external world. On this note, actually, there was only been shared to Shishya Parampara. But this was first actually from the Bhairava to the Bhairavi. When the Bhairava explained to the Bhairavi, Shiva explained to the Parvati Maa, to ensure that security or the credibility of the information being heard from others, Shiva instructed that no other being should listen these particular words. So Bhairava took Bhairavi Maa and sat down into the one subtle level of the ocean where there is no one could even hear about this. And there are many stories talking about this, and this story is connected to the same. One of Karma had a different plans when Shiva was trying to explain to Ma Parvati, when Bhairava was explaining to the Bhairavi about Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, 112 ways about the liberation, the process, how exactly one human can actually get evolved to the next level of the consciousness, was actually when Shiva was trying to disclose this. When Bhairava was trying to disclose this to the Bhairavi Maa, the karma has a different plans, and that karma was in such a way Like nearby there was some, a what do you call it, as a giant fish, Matsya fish, had swallowed a human infant, a small, and who had abandoned in his parent, and some way due to the inauspicious horoscope, the parents actually felt that actually the kid is no more needed for them, and they throwed him into the in the river. And that during that, one fish actually had swallowed the child, and the infant actually, when it was swallowed, it was in such a way that some it is also been said that actually parents had thrown in one of a story, and in other story it has been said the parent, when they were trying to take the kid and trying to show the water, accidentally the baby fell into the water and one fish ate the baby infant. But again, let's not get into the stick into the story how exactly it is, because many of the stories, maybe in the next trying to connect to the other stories, I will also share about how there is one more King Chola's story connected to it, and the other story which is connected is, we'll try to understand what are the different level of experience people have understood when it comes to the Matsyendranāth, and how exactly Matsyendranāth name came into that particular Avatara Purusha. The infant actually was being swallowed by the fish, and the fish, when it was actually moving through the ocean, it came across the listening of the Bhairava and Bhairavi's words, and it happened in such a way that the child in the fish belly was still alive. If you ask me today, logically, I do not have an answer for this, but mythologically, it has been said that when fish ate the particular infant, there was, the boy had such a reverberating of energy where they had created one womb of the fish in such a way it had become like a mother's womb. And this was one of a reason why he was being called as a Matsyendranāth. But there is one more person who first called him as a Matsyendranāth. We'll come there. The child remained alive in the fish womb and fish belly basically, and it happened in like a Shiva was giving a teaching to the to Parvati Ma, and when he was trying to share about the yoga, mantra as well as the tantra, like when it comes to the tantra, there are different levels of tantras. Aṣṭa Siddhi we call it as a Navanidhis. Navanidhis are called as the 9 treasures of Siddhis, as well as when it comes to the yoga as well as a mantra and the tantra, there are 10 major siddhis we need to know. Like there are even this actually, these details actually are being very beautifully been articulated when it comes to the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It is very beautifully been articulated in today's modern world, how exactly we can understand this, what we call it as the siddhis, through the tantra and the yoga, is beautifully been articulated by the Patanjali himself. But there are some special tantra siddhis, like especially when it comes to the Kaula as well as a Bhairava, especially in the Nath Sampradāya. This is very beautifully been followed till dated. This is called the Rahasya Siddhis. And this Rahasya Siddhi, maybe we'll try to talk about this on a very high level, how exactly this are connected to it. When Bhairava was trying to explain to the Bhairavi about the yoga, mantra as well as a tantra to Bhairavi Maa, it happened that the sound penetrated from the fish belly. The fish was actually very nearby to them and it was listening to them, their conversations. The child observed the entire secrets, what we call it as Shabda Uddesha. We call it as oral teaching, normally from Guru to the Shishya. When there is any kind of a primordial mantra is being given as a Diksha, or any kind of a Vachaka, or any kind of a information is being shared to the Shishya Sampradāya, it is called as a Shabda Upadesha, without being seen. For example, few of them actually call me and tell that actually Guru, whenever they see our videos, they normally don't see the video, they actually listen through as a podcast, or by doing any kind of an activity, they try to listen to it. That is also called Shabda Upadesha. Means you are listening, doing a Shravana, you are listening in such a way and you are not able to see it. This is what actually made the child to observe the entire secret where Bhairava and Bhairavi were able to talk to each other, and Bhairava was able to explain all the 112 ways of the Sutra, of 112 ways of the Liberation Sutra, where this particular child in the Matsya, in the fish womb, he was able to observe everything. Shabda Upadesha. It happened like actually after it's been heard that 12 years, after the 12 years, so long legendary says that 12 years, and few tell that actually it is 8 years. Again, let's not fix or talk about the corrections or the problems which mythological stories may be having it. Let's only stick about the essence of exactly what exactly this story is connected with. It happened like actually after 12 years, after all this episode, the fisherman caught the fish, the same fish which had listened in the womb. Actually was the baby was there in the womb, and the baby had already listened the discussion of Shiva as well as a Parvati Maa during whatever the yoga, mantra and tantra information was being shared. The same fish, actually the fisherman was able to catch it. When they cut, it has been said that actually the fisherman cut the stomach of the fish. He was astonished to see that a living boy was sitting in a yoga mudra. After cutting the fish stomach, the fisherman was completely in shock to see that one small 12 years kid was sitting inside the womb of the fish in a yoga mudra, completely naked, glowing like a brilliant of tapasvi. He was actually glowing. Whatever the 112 ways was there, it has been said that 112 ways of dharana he was able to practice inside the stomach of the fish. And it happened that the boy embedded fully enlightened at that given point of time. 12 years he was fully enlightened because he had observed all sort of informations, and with the knowledge of the Shiva's own teachings, through the never formally initiated to anyone, any humans. The first human to listen, practice, experience was this particular 12 years kid. And it happened that actually he was born from the fish, like he was from the fish belly. The fishermen called him as a Matsyendranāth. This is one sort of the story. But there is one more sort of the story which tells that Shiva, when he was trying to reveal all this information, Shiva was able to understand that particular fish, in the fish womb there is one small kid, and kid is trying to listen everything, because it has been said in few of the stories that when Shiva was trying to tell certain stories or every dharana information to the Maha Parvati, there was a smallest mute word coming from the fish belly, like somewhat like someone is listening to you, somewhat like actually they are trying to understand your conversation. This word or this actually get connected in such a way that Shiva was able to understand that there is a one more person who is listening to all these things, because he is a cosmic player. He knows much more better than what we all know today. He was able to understand that he is going to be the what next in the future. After all the conversation was being done, he blessed the fish, stating that this kid who is listening inside the womb of the fish is going to be called as a Matsyendranāth, and he is the first person who is going to be practicing all those 112 ways of dharana and taking this secret information to the external world. This was one more story which talks about it. But let's come back. In this particular story, when the actually fisherman cuts the stomach of the fish and he was able to see, the 12 years kid doing in the Dhyana Mudra was able to see that a glowing kid, a bright, vibrant kid was actually came out of the fish. He was born rather than reborn. He was not actually born. He was rather than he was reborn. Like the kid going to the fish and fish holding that for the 12 years, and actually the dharana of the information which was shared by Bhairava to the Bhairavi, and he was able to practice, listen to that, and that listening actually made him to the practice, and all the practice he made was able to digest, and he was able to be what he was on that moment. With the knowledge of the Bhairava sharing to the Bhairavi, his own never formally been shared to anyone, this actually led him to be inside the stomach of the fish for 12 years. This has also been said like this. And here the fishermen, when they named him as a Matsyendranāth, the Lord of the Fish, Lord of the Fish, Matsyendranāth, this is actually, it is also been said Matsyendranāth also in some of the regional as well as a Prakruti forms of his wordings. It has been said that Matsyendranāth or Matsyendranāth, Matsyendranāth or Manināth. Mani is somewhat like, see, Manināth is like fish. In certain regional languages, Mani is actually called as a fish. So he was being called in a different names by the different scriptures, whatever has been said across. We have also like mythological story that he had a tapas to the Dattatreya Swami. Like after he hearing all this dharana of 112 ways, he was being said by Shiva that Matsyendranāth, the stomach, the baby inside the fish stomach is a Matsyendranāth, and for the 12 years to do a dharana, to do a practice, the kid actually had asked Shiva, Bhairava, you know that actually I am listening to this. How I can get liberated? How can I experience this? Then Shiva had told him that actually he need to do a sadhana inside the stomach of the fish for 12 years, such that of the Dattatreya Swarupa, such that actually all Triguna Swarupa information he can understand better. Triguna, you know that, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. To understand this Trigunas, he normally need to do the Aradhana of the Dattatreya, who is also the incarnation of this Trimurtis. He was Amasya, grace, like we can call it as. He was also a Mahavishnu, but he needed to do a tapasa to the Bhairava also was being said. It is been said in one of an articulation, apart from Dattatreya, he also did the sadhana of the Bhairava, Shiva himself, to gain the siddhis. Whatever though Aṣṭa Siddhis are there, we'll talk about this. Aṣṭa Siddhi he was able to gain or get this information or practice this inside the womb of the fish only. It was not like externally he came and he experienced or he got an knowledge from some other external guru where he practiced it in some cremation ground. No, inside the stomach of the fish he was able to practice this, and he was able to attain all those siddhis and all those Ashtabhairava, and get all the Vidya and the Tantra full at. He had a Adi Guru. We spoke about Adi Guru and the Nath Sampradāya which was being practiced. See here what we need to understand is Maha Mantra was being actually first being given by Adi Guru to the Matsyendranāth, talking about or saying about Alakh Niranjan. He was the first person to tell to the Mahashiva, Bhairava himself, Adesh Gurudeva. Because we may think about there are thousands of mantras which is being said by Shiva himself, but it is being said this is a Maha Mantra. Shiva himself has disclosed to that particular 12 years kid that it is only one Guru Mantra which need to be retained. With this, everything on the cosmos level can be understood. Alakh Niranjan. This Guru Upadesha to that kid of 12 years inside the stomach of the fish was understood. Dharana was been done. He practiced. He was able to do a sadhana of the Dattatreya Swami as well as a Bhairava. He was able to complete Paripurnata. He was able to become a Paripurnata. And it is like through the Shiva's grace, the fish was transformed into the divine being. due to the Bhairava's grace only, he was able to transform into the whatever the Siddhi he was able to take to the next level. The greatest Siddha ever human has witnessed is Matsyendranāth. Matsyendranāth or Maninatha, or we can call it as Matsyendranāth. Again, don't stick to the particular word, because every religion, regional, okay, a regional Prakruti forms of the fish name is been said, articulated into the different names. Matsyendranāth, Matsyendranāth or Maninatha, everyone, I'm trying to talk the same thing. This particular, the greatest what we call it as Siddhi, was first attained by Matsyendranāth, the 12 years kid. He emerged not as an ordinary kid after coming out of the stomach of the fish when fishermen opened it, but one who had already mastered the Kaula Vidya inside the stomach of the fish. He had already been master of the Kaula Vidya, Aṣṭa Siddhis, by hearing directly from the Bhairava himself. So this has been said that maybe after that actually you maybe have heard about different sort of stories. Let me actually take you one sort of information which is shared by my Guru, telling that when Shiva was trying to explain this, Shiva himself went inside the stomach of the fish and he was able to explain Guru Tattva to that particular kid, because that kid was crying and asking flat, I need to know you better, please help me to explain what this particular life is all about. Then Shiva himself, as a Kana, it has been said that his Kana means one cell, he went inside the stomach of the fish and he was able to explain this as a Guru Tattva to that particular kid. It is also been said that after the Dattatreya Swami Avirbhava, like he was able to do a sadhana inside the stomach of the fish, he was able to see the Dattatreya Swami and he was able to attain the Trigunas, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva-tattva guna. He was able to Satvika, Tamasika, Rajasika guna, he was able to practice it, he was able to experience it, he was able to do a dharana of it. It has been said he was the first master for the Yogini Tantra also, because here there was a discussion between Bhairava and the Bhairavi about Shiva and the Devi, and it has been said Devi also helped Matsyendranāth to attain Alakh Niranjan state, because this Alakh Niranjan is not actually the Guru Tattva of only Shiva, it is the Ardhanarishwara Swarupa mantra. It has also been said this is one of, or this is not one of, this is the only mantra, the Guru mantra Upadesha, which is given by Shiva himself to the Nath Sampradāya. Whoever comes from the Nath Sampradāya, the first word what they tell is Alakh Niranjan. Same words or same till dated. The Guru Sampradāya is continuing even till dated. Even if you see any kind of an Aghoris, even if you see any kind of Naga Babas, their first word what they try to recite is Alakh Niranjan. This is what the Guru Sampradāya has been taught to them. When there was actually a Alakh Niranjan word was being recitated, or a Guru Bodhana was being done to that particular kid, 12 years kid, inside the stomach of the fish, it is being said that he first mastered, after mastering the Dattatreya Swami was able to understand this, doing a sadhana, he was the first person to do Bhairava sadhana inside the stomach of the fish. All Aṣṭa Siddhis he was able to gain. After first he was able to gain all the Yogini Tantra. He was able to learn Yogini Tantra from Bhairavi Maa herself. You may be wondering how exactly it is. Again, as these are all connected to the mythological connections, this particular mantra became so potent and so vibrant that actually together Shiva and Shakti were able to gain this Guru mantra to the first human. That is the reason he is called the Prathama Guru, Ādi Guru. He was being called as an Ādi Guru because Alakh Niranjan word was being explained, expressed. I believe actually you have already, I have already told this information. Alakh is nothing but Alakya, that is actually unseen. What do you call it as imperceptible, and Niranjana is nothing that without a blemish, a pure Maya, that state of it which is called Supreme Consciousness. Shiva himself is Alakh Niranjan. All karma, gunas, illusions, everything dilutes. That is the word called Alakh Niranjan. And when this absolute salutation remembrance was being shared to Matsyendranāth, this particular kid was able to understand the first Tantra from Devi was Yogini Tantra. Because you know that actually before we understand about the Devi, Yogini need to be understood. All the Chaushat Yoginis need to be understood. Matsyendranāth had become a master of the Yogini worship. He had become the Yogini guardian. All the Siddhis, because 64 Siddhis are there. Again, there are different pattern of line of information. Maybe if I talk that, we'll get diluted about the topic today. Going back, like each Yogini channels of the Shakti particularly has one particular, together we call it as connected to one counterpart of Bhairava. I believe you would be knowing it. Being a Bhairava sadhakas, you will be knowing much more than this what I'm trying to share. But every Yoginis, all 64 Chaushat Yoginis have connected one counterpart of the Bhairava, and they awaken the Siddhi, and that particular Siddhi is sadhaka can gain it only with the grace of Bhairava and Shakti. All 64 Yoginis, all 64 Bhairavas, he was able to activate it. Thus, Matsyendranāth became the first human custodian of the Kaula Tantra, Kaula path, carrying the living current today, whatever we have it, Bhairava into this today's world. So today if we are talking about the Bhairava, who brought those Bhairava information into this existence? Matsyendranāth. Matsyendranāth was the first human to bring this Kaula Nirvana Tantra, Kaula connecting to the Yogini Tantra, and Bhairava himself, the sadhana of the Bhairava, was first explained by Matsyendranāth, Nath Sampradāya. Again, you may be wondering, like actually there are multiple stories. Do not go as which episode was first being disclosed, not like a chronological events like year 1, year 2, year 3. No, do not stick to this. From a Sampradaya perspective, I'm trying to explain you how exactly the first human was able to get connected to the Bhairava himself, how he was able to do a sadhana of his as well as Bhairavi herself, how exactly he was able to experience those 112 ways of dharana, how he was able to understand Triguna, how he became a Triguneshwara. And here, what we need to understand is, he being the first Ādi Guru, he was being Shiva himself nominated Matsyendranāth as first Kaula Guru or first Nath Sampradāya Guru, because from there only the Nath Sampradāya started with. And he holds all the Siddhis. And in Tantra, the concept of the Siddhis, whatever we call it as like Siddhi is like somewhat like we can call it as a spiritual attainment or a perfection. If you become a perfection of something on a vocabulary, or if you have become a perfection on your driving skill sets, or you in the corporate world we can call like if you have become a perfection of doing a presentation to the senior management, or if you are a perfection of any of your daily activities, even in household activities, you have become a perfection of preparing some itineraries, and you have become a perfection of certain some sort of deliverables, whatever the day in day out we do it. Normally those, when we become a perfection, or that we have become a spiritual attained to that particular concept, and that concept is none other than Siddhis. So do not dwell that actually what exactly Siddhi is all about. It is very critical for one to understand what exactly the Siddhi is. That's the reason I'm trying to tell, connecting to this existence of on the practical world perspective. See, Siddhis arises as a byproduct. Let me just tell you very clearly how exactly you become perfectionist. One who become perfectionist actually who have a deepest connection or a deepest love of the things what he is trying to do. It may be such a surrenderness, such a connection to the activities he performed, he become a perfectionist. Similar is the Siddhi word which was been coined by our Guru Sampradāya, stating that it is a byproduct of sadhana. That is the reason we always talk about sadhana, 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 sadhana. We talk about certain mandala of the sadhana, because the connection between you and the external energies becoming one among you can only be achieved when sadhana is getting deepened, when the mantra japa is being done. Because in this Kali Yuga, only one thing which can remove us or make us connect to the Daiva is only mantra japa. Yoga, one who do the yoga perfection, he is also attained the siddhis. And in Bhairavi, worshipping, especially worshipping the Bhairavi in the Kaula. Kaula is actually, you know that actually it is a sampradaya of both Devi and Bhairavi, Ardhanarishwara Swarupa. Or we can call it as getting the Shakta and well as Shaiva into the one particular forum. The Aradhana of the Daiva is being done where actually the perfectionist of the connection with the Daiva can be achieved. And this is called Siddhi. There are different, we can call it as texts, listed them in a different ways when it comes to the Siddhi perspective. But what my gurus have told, I'll try to convey this information to you. It is being said that once the first sadhana of Matsyendranāth, when he was there in the fish stomach, in the womb, he was able to do the practice of the Bhairava sadhana. He was able to gain all the Aṣṭa Siddhis, the 8 greatest Siddhi, which is gifted by Bhairava himself. I am not going to go into the depth of it. I'm just going to give a pointer about it, such that actually you're going to know about or touch about those topics, because we'll go back to the topic or else we'll get diluted. In Tantra Yoga, as well as in Purana, it is beautifully been articulated. The Aṣṭa Tantras, or what we call it as Aṣṭa Siddhis, are Ajna. Let me take one step closer. Ajna, because this particular story is connected in such a way that when Shiva explained this information to the 12 years kid, on the Agnya Chakra he was able to keep his hand, and he was able to explain what exactly those 8 Siddhis is all about, connected to. Anima Siddhi, Mahima Siddhi, Laghima Siddhi, Garima Siddhi, Prapti Siddhi, Prakamya Siddhi, Ishitva Siddhi, Vashitva Siddhi. These are the 8 Siddhis. You may be wondering like what exactly is all this about. Anima Siddhi is about ability to become as small as an atom. Example, you may have seen already in mythological story, Hanuman actually became very minute level when he entered into the kingdom of the Ravana in the Sri Lanka. When he went to see the Shrita Mata, he became like an atom. This is also the Anima Siddhi, when even one story or major one, what we need to understand is Shiva himself became as an atom and went inside the stomach of the fish, where he was able to become a Guru Tattva to that particular 12 years kid. Anima Siddhi. Second, what we need to understand is Mahima Siddhi. Mahima Siddhi is about ability to expand infinitely, becoming very huge. Hanuman, you have seen it. He was actually the master of becoming that particular avatar. You may have seen it. That is connected to Mahima Siddhi. Anima Siddhi, Mahima Siddhi. There is third one called as an Laghima Siddhi. Laghima Siddhi is somewhat like every sadhakas will experience this. Like ability to become weightless, lighter than air. There is certain sadhana when we normally do it, you feel very, very light, and you feel actually you're above the floor or a ground level, and you are able to experience the air, that is actually Vayu Tattva, in very beautiful connected way. Most of the sadhakas will experience this when they do a yoga sadhana. This is none other than Laghima Siddhi. The fourth one is actually Garima Siddhi. Garima Siddhi is about ability to become very, very heavy. This also we have heard about one of the particular story. Maybe actually when Hanuman was sleeping in the forest, Dandakaranya, when it is connected to the Mahabharata, when actually Bhima was trying to come on the way to get certain food for his brothers. He was on the way. When he was going through, he found that one monkey was sleeping in that his path. He told that monkey to lift the tail, and Hanuman, being in that particular Vanaswarupa, he told like, I have already become very very old. If you feel that actually you need to want a way to go from this particular way, you please lift my tail and keep it aside and you can go yourself. This was what actually Hanuman was able to tell him. And it is been said that Bhima, having 1,000 elephant strength, he was not able to even shake the tail of the Hanuman, the Vanara, on that particular moment. And that particular Siddhi is called Garima Siddhi, able to become most heaviest thing in this existence, unable to shake. There are many multiple stories like this. I'm trying to just make you much more connected when it comes to what exactly the Siddhi is all about and how exactly this can be connected to. The fifth is actually called Prapti Siddhi. Prapti Siddhi is as word exactly decode as stating that ability to obtain anything, anywhere instantly. For example, if you want something, immediately you will be able to get it. Like Vasishtha Mahamuni, he was able to had a Nandini Gomata, and he had also like a ability to actually get whatever he wanted from that particular Gomata, Nandini Ma. So this particular Siddhi is called Prapti Siddhi. Prakamya Siddhi is actually the sixth stage, ability to fulfill any desire, irreversible of any will. For example, if someone is asking something, I can give a boon to them. Just an example. Shiva himself used to do this. And you know that actually certain sadhakas, certain siddhars, certain yogis, certain aghoris, certain nagababas, whenever you meet them, they give a boon to us, or they give a fulfillment of desire. Whenever you go and ask into them that actually I need this, I need that, I need a worldly things like my car, my bungalow, my wife, they will tell praptirastu. Prakhamya Siddhi is praptirastu is nothing but fulfilling of your desires. This is the sixth particular Siddhi which was gained by the 12 years kid inside the womb of that fish. Aṣṭa Siddhi, the mastery over the elements, worshipping the divine control himself, all 5 elements. Aṣṭa is nothing but all the 5 elements. Like Pancha, Vayu, Agni, Prithvi, Akasha, all 5 elements taking control of it. Whenever you want, you can activate that particular tattva, element in you, and you can experience that elementary actions through the particular in as well as out. That is none other than divine control, taking the divine control. When it comes to the Vashiva, what we call it as Vasishtva Siddhi. Vasishtva Siddhi is somewhat like the last Siddhi which we need to know about very clearly is power of subjugate or influence others or the nature. We call it as Vashiva Siddhi or Vashikarana. This is also called as in Vashikarana normally in today's world or today's context perspective. Vashiva is nothing but taking control of one's mind. For example, you know that actually there is certain sadhana paddhati where actually once you do a sadhana of particular daiva, you will be in that particular realm for many hours. And if you want to experience in much more subtle, condensed way, the only way is sadhana, depressing your sadhana, mantras japa, and actually yoga. These things actually can help you to get connected to the daiva tattva in much more connected way. And Vashittva Siddhi is one of the greatest boon which nature has given to us, where we can experience the nature in a very subtle way. For example, if you want to experience how exactly the tree feels, how they experience that particular non-living body experiences. For example, it may be like even the fish, animal or anything. If you want to experience them, you need to understand how exactly they are experiencing. influencing other and experiencing them is what actually is all about this particular. And here what we need to understand is these 8 are considered the primary siddhis given by the Bhairava himself, Dattatreya himself to the Matsyendranāth, and through this he was able to take to the next level. There is particular, as I told you, after this I will not directly go into the deepest level of this siddhis. Maybe actually we will lose the topic which we need to talk about. The next, whatever we call it as 9 treasures in the siddhis, is called Navanidhi. Navanidhi is actually called, Nidhi is nothing but treasure. Nava is 9. 9 siddhis of treasure, which all the Kaula Tantra is always been told, and this is being told directly from the Guru to the Shishya Parampara, mentioning that these are the hidden yogic treasures. That is, we call it as, like, I will quickly tell only the name about it. I will not try to explain about what exactly it is, because normally each Vingada or each branches of this information is very, very vast, and very vast information in such a way that each individual Navanidhis actually has a different levels of story connecting to the Bhairava and Bhairavi Maa. Okay, let me just try to connect those information. Maha Padma is first, we call it as in a Navanidhi. Maha Padma, we call it as Shankha, we call it as Makara, Kachapa. 6 is we call it as Mukunda. It is 7th, I believe, Nandha. 8th is Neela, and 9th is actually I believe Kharva. Yes, Kharva. Why I am trying to tell you this is, this 9 informations are very, very special when it comes to the Kaula Tantra, especially from the Nath Sampradāya. A beautiful articulated information is available on this. Normally any of the scriptures you will not be able to find this information. Normally when you practice the Kaula Tantra, especially from the Nath Sampradāya perspective, gurus will be able to teach this. If time permits, maybe we will talk about 1 or 2 in any future videos. But again, each topic has a very detailed connection between Bhairava and the Bhairavi. Let me come back to the story. Here there is one more, like, called as an 10 out of that Aṣṭa Siddhis. There are 10 Sukshma Siddhis. We call it as 10 Sukshma Siddhis. Dashama Sukshma Siddhi. This is called Dashama Sukshma Siddhi. This is also articulated in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, but this was first been known by Matsyendranāth himself from the Bhairava, from the Dattatreya Swami. Actually it has been said, even to invoke Bhairava, Matsyendranāth inside the stomach of the fish, after invoking the Dattatreya Swami was able to give this Dasha Sukshma Siddhi, such that he was able to gain the Aṣṭa Siddhis. So what are those? Those are actually like Sanskrit Dasha Sukshma Sadhana, but I am trying to not convey this because those are secretial information. Let me just quickly tell you from on a context of understanding what we need to understand. It is like freedom from hunger as well as thirst is first particular Sukshma Siddhi, what he was able to gain it. Second Sukshma Siddhi was about the freedom from the heat and cold. You know, like today's sadhakas, whenever they go to the Himalaya, the Aghoris, they normally get this Sukshma Siddhis, heat and cold. They will not be able to find what is the difference between heat and cold. Freedom from the old age, whatever we call it as Maha Avatar Baba, he had this particular boon. Till dated he is available in this realm because he had got the Sukshma Siddhi. The old, he will not never become old. And fourth is actually freedom from the diseases. Sukshma Siddhi. Fourth one is freedom from the Siddhis. Fifth is actually death at will. You know, like normally Pitamaha had, in Mahabharata, you know that Pitamaha had this particular boon from Gange Mata herself only, from his mother, that actually he can die whenever he wishes for. This is called actually called as somewhat like Sukshma Siddhi, minor siddhis, whatever we tell in today's date. Death as will. 6 is actually about the beauty and the calm. They will be able to be beauty and calm for long time. And this can be attained only by the Sukshma Siddhis. And invisibility, normally for certain people, if they don't want them to see what exactly is, how exactly they are trying to do the sadhana, invisibly they will become and they will be able to do their sadhanas. That is a 7th type of Sukshma Siddhi, what we know from the Patanjali Sutra perspective. 8th Siddhi is somewhat like knowledge of past, present and future. This is also is one of the wing of astrology, what we call it as Shastra. Vijnana Shastra actually has much more divided information which will disclose about past, present and future. Jyotishya Shastra, whichever is being said as Vijnana Shastra, part of it is part of Vijnana Shastra is Jyotish Shastra. On Jyotishya Shastra, we will be able to know the knowledge of present, past and future. For that only we need thousands of lifetime to understand this. Try to understand. This is like 8th Sukshma Siddhi, simple Siddhi. Understanding all the languages. You may be thinking like all the Saptarishis, when they were being given a knowledge from Shiva himself, from the Adinatha himself, and they took to the different places, corners of the world, how they were able to understand the language of the different continent and the different people. This is called Sukshma Siddhi, understanding all the languages. 10th, the last Sukshma Siddhi is about vision about celestial beings. Presence, experiencing their presence, celestial beings, and vision about them. How exactly, what would happen exactly, and when they are going to come. All the Maha Avataras, Dasha Bhairava Avataras, all these things are connected to the vision of what we call it as celestial beings was being gifted by Dattatreya Swami to Matsyendranāth, the 12 years kid of Matsyendranāth. What we need to understand is this Dasha Sukshma Siddhis is intildated. Many of them are 1 or 2, they have gained it. Trust me. Even we talk about Aṣṭa Siddhis, about the Bhairava, Anima, Mahima, Lagima, Garima, Prapti Siddhi, and even Ishita Siddhi and Vashishva Siddhi. See, here we will not be able to touch that particular realm unless we gain, understand, know about this Sukshma Siddhis. And the Sukshma Siddhis are the first step which oneself as a sadhakas you need to know before we go to the next level of the Aṣṭa Siddhis. See, here what we need to understand here is, here why I am trying to tell you this is, these informations you have heard it, but articulation of this information is never been said. This was first experienced by the human, and that human is none other than 12-year kid. Matsyendranāth was the kid who was able to experience all these things, who became the first guru of the Nath Sampradāya. See, out of this Sukshma Siddhi, and what we call it as like Navasiddhis or Navanidhis, which we understood, or Aṣṭa Siddhis, which we were able to understand from the Bhairava gifted to the 12 years kid. What we need to understand is, there is a special Tantra Siddhis in the Kaula, normally is somewhat like in Bhairava Sadhana. After completion of, there has been said like 12 years of sadhana for particular number of mandala. Once they have been completed, there is a certain siddhi, a unique tantra of information has been disclosed by the Guru to the Shishya Parampara, which is called Rahasya Siddhi. This particular Rahasya Siddhi is very, it is somewhat like a very secret power. Maybe I'll try to give 1 or 2 information about that. Some examples are actually, we can call it a Khechari Siddhi. You know about the Khechari Mudra. This has been one of the mudra which has been practiced till dated by many legendaries. Lahiri Mahashaya, Paramananda Yogananda, Paramahamsa. Again, I don't want to go into that. Khechari Mudra. Okay, Khechari Mudra is ability to move into the sky. To the Akasha Tattva is Khechari Mudra. There is a certain mantras as well as that Khechari Mudra when it is being performed, especially after completing. This is one of the Rahasya Siddhi which is being disclosed by Bhairava to the 12 years kid. Shakta Siddhi. This is like Shakta Siddhi is somewhat like merging into the Shakti, union into the divine feminine. There is a certain sadhana paddhati which actually tells how exactly one can experience Shakti in a complete sadhana paddhati perspective. In Kamakya Rahasya, it has very beautifully been articulated. That is the reason in Bhairava Anugraha Sadhana Paddhati, whatever we tell to actually do Aradhana of the Ma Kamakya, because you will try to experience the feminine qualities, complete Dasha Mahavidyas, complete package of Dasha Mahavidyas, complete Swarupini of the Devi is Shakta Siddhi. There is one more, maybe I can connect it, is about Mrityunjaya Siddhi, conquering over the death. You may have heard about certain siddhas, certain yogis. Till dated, there are certain stories. Actually, those they have already conquered and they have lived for many years, more than 100, whatever we call it as in this trilim on practical world perspective, more than 100 years, 200, 300 years of siddhas are living till dated. They are sitting in the Himalayas and in the down in Tiruvannamalai, especially in the Mala, especially inside that particular. Many of the siddhas are actually doing certain sadhanas. They have gained something called as an Mrityunjaya Siddhi. And here what we need to understand is conquering the death doesn't mean that actually they are conquering. As I told you, all these 10 Sukshma Siddhis need to be gained. Freedom from the disease, freedom from the old age, freedom from the heat and cold, freedom from the hunger and thirsty, death and will, beauty and the calm, invisibility, power of knowledge about the past, present and the future, understanding all the languages and the vision of the celestial beings. All this Dasha, what we call it as Dasha Sukshma Vidya, can be experienced only after a couple of long years. One part of this is actually Mrityunjaya Siddhi. Here what we need to understand is there is one more normally as a sadhakas will experience or understand is you may be telling that few of the people who would be very beautifully be able to articulate any kind of a storyline. That is Vakasiddhi. Whatever in the spoken becomes truth. Vakasiddhi is not actually what they speak get attracted to you. No. Vakasiddhi is actually whatever they tell, it will become true. All the siddhas, all the sadhakas used to gain this particular knowledge or assistance. Even in Kaula Tantra, after a couple of years, after they do a certain sadhana, it is been said there is certain Mauna sadhana which is been done to attain this Vakasiddhi. Mauna sadhana for couple of mandalas, couple of years is been done to attain this Vakasiddhi. There is something called Kama Siddhi. Kama Siddhi is locally we can understand as fulfillment of desires through the mantras and yantras. I don't want to go into depth of this because this has again 3 different wings. Kama Siddhi. There is one particular in Kaula, especially Guru Sampradāya, which is being thought about as Mantra Siddhi, which is till dated most of them practice it. It is completely realization, leaving the power of that particular mantra. People always come and ask me, I have already completed this particular mantra. What is the next mantra I can gain it, conquer it, acquire it? I bow down to all those souls, telling them very clearly and simple. Even if you try to, it is not an academic qualification by gaining one subject, second subject, third subject, 19 subject completing and you becoming a doctorate in that particular subject. No, never. One particular mantra, if you are being got as a guru, from a guru to from guru to you, make sure that that particular mantra start living with you, living in such a way that there is no next minute, there is no next thought, next wish what you have it. then only that particular mantra will become a siddhi to you. It will start working for you, not against you. People will come and tell, after getting a mantra from you or getting a Pratama Charana, my life has become very miserable. I'm getting lot of problems in your life. Yes, if you have something, what we call it as cleansing will happen for everyone who are there in the sadhana paddhati. Sadhana is not merely for the liberation. Sadhana is by sitting on the fire and experiencing the fire. You need to understand why exactly we have come here. And always I tell, if you have come to gain something here, this is the wrong place where you are. Here you are supposed to lose. If you are ready to lose, that is the place where you can attain the mantra siddhi. And mantra siddhi is very easily accessible to everyone till dated. Single mantra, whichever you have gone, put your heart, soul and mind, time, mandalas of mandala into that particular one mantra, where you will be able to get the mastery, the particular, you will be able to gain the siddhi of that mantra, complete realization, complete activation of each syllable what that mantra carries. It will become a living power to each individual, whoever does it. So always I tell, don't run behind the different sort of sadhanas people always offer for. Especially when it is being told, freely being offered this particular mantra, that particular mantra. Trust me, you are just trying to do a window shopping. Window shopping is not going to help you in anywhere, or it is somewhat like you standing on the treadmill and trying to run 100 meters of running race. You are not going to reach your destination, still you will be in the same place where you have started with. See, that is the reason whoever comes to the Bhairava sadhana or a Bhairava anugraha, we always tell, please complete 3 mandalas. 48 days into 3 mandalas, please complete it, because your connection, your vital connection, your nature need to get understand to the Daiva. Even you may be coming and many of them come and tell me that actually I have done 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years. I bow down to them, please. Even if you have done so many of years, why exactly you are still lost? Reason is, you are actually trying to conquer something, acquire something in your life. Conquer something which is not in your limits. When you start doing that, you are nowhere going anywhere. You are going to lose your time, energy, space, only to acquire something which is just imaginary for you. Let me just tell you one thing. Even when Mahabharata happened, when Krishna was sitting next to Duryodhana, he was not able to experience the Daiva Guna sitting next to him. Similarly, even after having this boon in our life, the mantra siddhi, you will never be able to attain if you try to conquer something. And if you try to conquer everything, I need to understand every sort of life in this particular span of life, impossible. You will not be able to attain it. That is the reason I always tell, Bhairava is Adhara. Bhairava sadhana is a Adhara for you to experience this particular life. And once you start experiencing this life, you will try to understand beyond this life. And this can only happen when you are very serious about your sadhana. And that sadhana is not like actually time bounded. Few people will come and tell me, I have completed this, what's next? Sadhana is never ending process. It is somewhat like continuity in your dedication, your Aṣṭa. Every day you return to the same routine, mundane activity, such that one day he will come to you. He must come to you. And he is going to make sure that whatever is good for you, he will be able to bestow us that. Do not have a checklist of wishes telling that I want XYZ, my wife need to gain this, I need to win a lottery, I need to write a beautiful, I need to actually get a 100% in my exams, I need to get a beautiful wife, I need to build a building, I need to get a car. What you are trying to achieve it? When you have a such kind of checklist and sit for the sadhana, trust me, you are going to get the zero benefit out of it. Are you trying to do any kind of a business with the Daiva? Transactional business? And that transactional business is somewhat like, I will give this, you give this to me. Trust me, this is what even my guru was able to teach me on a very first level when I had started the sadhana paddhati long back. And he was able to tell me, if you are behind something, if you are behind something to gain, then you are illiterate. Even if you are a PhD holder, you are still illiterate. You don't know the essence of the life. When you try to acquire something, trust me, you are running away from that particular destination. That's what actually the Guru Sampradaya has always been taught. And when it comes to the mantra sadhana is a beautiful gift our Guru Parampara has given to us. In Kaula Tantra, this is a very beautifully been shared to us. In a Nath Sampradāya, this is what actually beautifully we need to understand, this best gift which is being boon to us. A complete realization, one particular mantra. Let me just even tell you, what we call it as Moola Mantra, Om Bhairavi Maa. Just reciting this, if you completely realize, there is no need of any mantras at all. People will try to give a fancy mantras. Again, let me just put across like this. For example, in a hospital, in a clinic, does that mean that everyone have a same sort of disease who comes to the doctor? Everyone has a different problem. Someone will have a headache problem, someone will have a throat problem, someone will have a heart problem, someone will have a stomach problem. Having all this problem, doctor knows which particular medicine need to be given to what. That's what Guru knows, what particular mantra need to be given to one particular sadhaka. Not that you were wish and will and come and ask that I want this particular mantra. For example, few will come and tell me that I need a Batuka Bhairava mantra. Few will tell, give me a mantra of Aṣṭa Bhairava. Few will come and tell me that actually give me a mantra of Kala Bhairava. Few will come and tell Dashamaha Bhairavas. Can you give me one particular Dashamaha Bhairava? Or few also will come and tell like Swarnakarshana Bhairava mantra. Can you please? Whom you are trying to fool? As I told you, you have a stomach problem. You are taking a medicine for the headache. Is your stomach problem going to go or it is going to fix? No, never. Your problem will retain. So always give a choice to your Guru to know which particular mantra is going to be helpful for you for this particular lifetime. Do not have a wish list coming and telling that I have all this list and I have this particular mantra which I have read in the social media and I want this particular mantra need to be given to me. People are there today in the market where actually they will give the mantras for few couple of rupees. Here I always tell, Bhairava is not for sale. Devi is not for sale. Here you are supposed to gain them. You are supposed to get complete realization of your Ishtartha, your Daiva. And that can only happen with your dedication, surrenderness, your willingness. And that can only happen once you complete your certain mandal of the sadhana. And again, let me just tell you, please spend time not to have this checklist, but to realize the mantra which is being given to you to the utmost living. It get activate, living power start living with you. Bhairava himself start living with you. Even if it is a Moola mantra, Bija mantra or a Sabara mantra is been given to you, particular mantra is only being given only for your benefit on your particular improvement or your growth of your sadhana paddhati. Maybe those are the highest level of I'm sorry, actually I just lost about when it comes to the storyline. Coming back, let me tell you, that is highest siddhi when it comes to the siddhars. We call it as a siddhars, especially in the south when it comes to the South India, normally in Sanatana. There are certain Sampradāya which talks about Kaula. In Kaula, normally there is something called as an Parama Siddhi. Parama Siddhi is the highest level of the siddhis which normally can be attained. It is like, we can call it as like Atma Jnana. Atmajnana is actually realizing the Brahman inside you. Shivavastha. Shivavastha is like actually you becoming a Shiva himself, merging a sadhaka becoming as a Bhairava beyond birth and death. This is what actually in a dharana, in Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, it is very beautifully said. All siddhis shines, yet the greatest is to rest in the one's true self, and that is none other than Bhairava consciousness itself. This is actually what as a sadhakas we need to experience. There is a something, as I told you, Paramasiddhi is ultimately you merging, you becoming one become the Bhairava himself, and that can only be happening once you leave this particular checklist in your life. Maybe to quickly tell, liberation become one with Bhairava is none other than Paramasiddhi, and that is where we as a sadhakas need to go. Maybe today we try to understand about the Matsyendranāth. About 12 years inside, he's still inside. He has just not come outside. The stomach has not been cut, has not come outside. That is actually his visibility. But whatever the information which I am trying to share is inside the stomach, in fish womb, Matsyendranāth, how he was become a complete, he was nurtured by Bhairava himself, was all about today's video. Maybe with the next video we'll talk about the continuity of the information which talks about this. Maybe I bow down to my Guru Parampara, Nath Parampara, where actually they were able to share this beautiful information to me, where today we are able to know, listen, hear and talk about our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava and Prathama Guru, Ādi Guru of Nath Sampradāya, Matsyendranāth. Om Bhairava-Shiva Namaha. Alakh Niranjan. Om Bhairava-Shiva Namaha. Om Kamakhya-ya Namaha. Om Hingulambika-ya Namaha. Om Kalakala-ya Vidmahe Kalatita-ya Dhimahi Tanno Kala Bhairava Prachodayat. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amritarupini Tanu Shakti Mana Shive Shri Hingulaya Namaha. Namaskaram.